And there is a very high possibility that this rocket ship won't stop. This is a very critical update on NIO stock, and you guys got to watch to the very end to see the full picture. So on Thursday, I uploaded the video, NIO stock short squeeze price targets, massive amounts of number of shares being bought back. We could be looking at 14.8 as the first target, 16.8 as the second target, all the way up to 21.8. By the way, sign up with Moomoo using my link and get 15 free stocks. And our first price target has already been hit. Well, sort of been hit. Friday after market hours, it got to 15. So what is going on with NIO stock? What the hell is a gamma squeeze? What are the things that are absolutely hyping up investors here in China? So in that video, some of you guys said the short interest is only around 8%, and it's not actually a short squeeze. Well, I gotta disagree. It's always never just a short squeeze. It's always a combination of a short squeeze, a gamma squeeze, investor hype, and then also good sentiment from the government and policy wise. So let's first talk a bit about the policy that's hyping up investor sentiment here in China by a massive amount. And then we'll go over price targets and also what to look forward and what a gamma squeeze is. So here in Beijing, they're going to prop up the real estate market and also implement policies that support the real estate market. And that has caused a lot of investor confidence. And there's also policy that the government is laying out to boost investor confidence in general, just consumer confidence as well. So just from that alone, all of a sudden, everybody's like, damn, let's buy. And confidence, investor confidence here in China is very, very high. So looking forward, people are very, very optimistic. So what is a gamma squeeze? Well, here's a quick crash course on options and gamma squeeze. When you buy an option at the certain strike price, for example, $15, then that option entitles you to buy 100 shares of that stock at $15. So obviously this contract, it has an expiration, but this contract would be only worth money if the share price is above $15. So usually with these options contracts, it's the market makers that are selling you the contracts. So you buy the contracts and it's the market makers selling them to you. And what often tends to happen is these market makers have to lower the risk if the stock goes flying up and then you guys all of a sudden exercise that contract and the market maker doesn't have the shares. And by the way, exercising the contract just means you execute that contract and you buy the shares, 100 shares per contract at the strike price. So to hedge against the risk of the stock just flying up, the market maker has to buy a certain number of shares to protect themselves. So you can imagine if you own a lot of call options and if people in general own a lot of call options and the stock price gets closer and closer to the strike price, the market maker has to buy more and more shares to hedge and protect them in case the stock price rockets up, in case he gets exercised. So say, for example, the stock price of NIO, if it jumps to 20 and the market maker sold you that contract when the stock price was at 15 with a strike price of 15, then all of a sudden the contract is $5 in the money. And if it gets exercised, the market maker would have to buy the stock at $20 a share and then sell it to you at 15, which is just really, really not feasible. All right. So they tend to buy a lot of shares to protect themselves as the stock price gets closer and closer to the strike price. And if we look at the options volume, something very interesting is happening. We can see a ton of options contract at the $15 strike price. And this is also for 3 weeks from expiration, 2 weeks, and then 1 week as well. And if we look at the options contract expiring on Friday, August the 4th, there's a huge amount of calls being bought at the $15 strike price. And there's a lot of people just betting that the stock is going to be above 15. And this sort of has a self-fulfilling prophecy because as the stock price gets closer and closer, the market maker has to buy more shares, hence pushing the stock price higher. So what I really want you guys to watch out, and this is not financial advice, is if the stock price convincingly breaks above 15. So for example, we get to 15.3, something like that, convincingly breaks that price, then all of a sudden the market makers will pretty much be forced to buy more shares, and that will increase the stock price a lot. And combine that with the shorts and also a lot of retail hype, then this is going to propel the stock price way, way higher. And it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. As the stock price goes higher, more options, call options become in the money. Those market makers got to buy shares to hedge and protect themselves, and it goes higher and higher and higher. Also, guys, another huge catalyst that could be coming on Tuesday is, of course, the deliveries, the monthly deliveries. NIO's deliveries has been very low for the past couple months, but in July, a lot of NIO sales reps have told me 20K. The weekly insurance numbers published by Lee Auto sort of hint that we might not get there, but I'm still kind of optimistic that we will get to 20,000. Insurance numbers don't cover the whole entire picture. If we are able to get above 20,000, that is a huge boost to investor sentiment. And actually, anything above 18,000 will be a huge boost to investor sentiment as well. And NIO's stock price has been depressed for so long, right? For like 2-3 years almost. And just in this constant pressure and all the bulls being pushed down, that tension is all of a sudden being released. And a lot of the shorts are caught off guard. And once again, it's not just a short squeeze, it's a short squeeze plus gamma squeeze and also investor sentiment. All right, investor sentiment is coming back. This is very important. And guys, keep in mind that during this type of euphoria, fundamentals don't matter. We've seen this kind of short squeeze with a lot of those meme stocks and stuff, but this is almost similar because a lot of short interest, a lot of depressed share price, and then also big short squeeze and gamma squeeze on a quick move up. So there's a very high probability that the move up will continue, even though I don't believe NIO is in a fundamentally better situation than it was 2 years or 1 year or 3 years ago. AKA, I know losses now are actually more intense than what they were before. Losses are bigger, but that does not mean the stock price will not go up. In fact, I think the stock price will rocket up further. What are the targets? Well, if we convincingly break 15 and we get to like 15.5, we might just rocket up 16.8 and then 21.9. So now we're in the 20s. And then there's another very important milestone, which is 27.8. That's where there's a big gap over there during NIO's decline, and that gap needs to get filled. So, not financial advice. It's very risky to pile in right now, but it does look like, because of the gamma squeeze that's happening right now, if we break above 15 and all of a sudden the market makers have to hedge and buy stock like crazy, and the investor sentiment continues going up, we're going to go to the moon, guys. We're going to go to the moon. And there is a very high possibility that this rocket ship won't stop until like the SEC does something about it, or like in some of the meme stock short squeezes, that they pull the plug on this. People ban you from buying the stock, or the hedge funds somehow make it impossible for you to buy more options on this on NIO, because the stock is absolutely going parabolic. And guys, it doesn't matter if the short interest is low. These guys, they sell short at 12 or they sell short at 10 thinking that's the top. Boom, it goes up higher. And then people now, even on Monday, there's probably going to be short sellers. Nope, of course. They sell at 15, but then the stock goes to 16, 17. Boom, they're forced to cover. Stock goes higher. So it doesn't matter if the short interest is low. And guys, I have to make one thing very, very clear. With NIO, yes, they're losing a ton of money, cash expense very high, losing a ton of money, but NIO will always be able to get money. And NIO will never go bankrupt, in my honest opinion. All right, not financial advice, but in my honest opinion, I don't think NIO will ever go bankrupt, no matter how much money they spend. Why, you may ask? Well, that's for another video. So fasten your seatbelt, guys. The rocket ship is about to take off.